If I asked you to describe no Frieren in one word, what would it be? Many of you would say refreshing, emotional, or even gorgeous. After all, the anime features endearing characters, relatable themes, and antisocial psychopaths. Unhinged, unpredictable, and underdressed, this cold-blooded goth chick would slit your throat faster than you could say pits, thighs, and bedroom eyes. The closer she gets to you, the deadlier she becomes. So what's a homicidal killer like that doing in a wholesome anime like this? Well, ironically, I think Ubel gives us a good analogy of how to deal with difficult people. Call them what you want. Crazy, illogical, unreasonable. We all have to deal with people like that. And Ubel has just the solution to cut right through to them. You see, Ubel is a simple person, but she's not simplistic. She practices magic by feel, and the way she learns the spells of other mages is by empathizing with them. This means she has got to know them on a deeper level. This calls for boldness and curiosity, and Ubel is very bold and extremely curious. She was curious about Ubel, curious enough that she managed to learn his binding spell, Sorganel. She was curious about Fern during the exam, and very curious about Land even after the exam. Was Ubel curious about them simply to learn their spells and defeat them? Perhaps. But curiosity is the key to dealing with difficult people. After all, no curiosity, no empathy, no solution. Psychotherapy pioneer Dr. Alfred Adler put it like this: it is the individual who is not interested in his fellow men who has the greatest difficulties in life and provides the greatest injury to others. It is from among such individuals that all human failures spring. When was the last time you tried to understand why a difficult person was acting up? Maybe everything the other person said got on your nerves and made you want to roll your eyes all the way to the back of your head. Maybe they were not listening to anything you said. If that's you, take a page from Ubel's book. Ask people about themselves and let them do all the talking. When we get curious about people, we can learn how they think and figure out the best way to get through to them. As a bonus, we might also get them to like us at the same time, because as best-selling author Dale Carnegie put it, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. By the way, in my free manga chapter, you will learn the 4 components that govern human behavior and 2 key methods to change it, so check it out in the description below. But understanding a difficult person is one thing. Playing well with them is quite another. So what do you do when you learn that the other party is a cold, heartless, sadistic, hairy person? I'm sure you know someone like that, and having worked with a few of them myself, I immediately saw the genius of Ubel's approach when fighting Zenzei's replica. By most standards, Ubel was clearly outmatched. Logically speaking, she shouldn't be able to win, as Lan pointed out. But Ubel understood 3 things: how magic worked, how her spell worked, and how Zenzei worked. Ubel knew that Zenzei thought Ryuzaiden was a spell that didn't make sense, and deduced that Zenzei would not be able to counter it. Zenzei herself admitted that she could not imagine beating Ubel, and since magic is fundamentally dependent on visual imagination, the battle was over before it even started. Now think about your own social situations. Do you understand how human nature works? Do you understand if your style works? Do you understand how the other party works? If you don't, take a page from Ubel's book, Forget Rational, and get practical. Just as with magic, trying to beat people with logic doesn't always work because we are fundamentally driven by emotion, so we have to use more practical means to get through to them. I'll give you a quick example. In his book, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it, former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss introduces the counterintuitive tactic of labeling negatives. Imagine you're late to a meeting with a date. Instead of avoiding the issue when you arrive, you tell them, "It seems like my being late has really frustrated you." Some of you might say, "But doesn't pointing out negative feelings just make things worse?" Actually, the opposite is usually true. When you ignore negative emotions, the other person might feel like you don't care about their concerns, which can escalate the situation. But by labeling, you're showing that you're tuned in to their feelings and are willing to address them. This act of empathy often softens their stance and helps move the conversation forward in a more positive direction. Will it feel super humiliating eating humble pie? Probably, but will you have a higher chance of getting what you really want? Definitely, and a favourable outcome might not be the only prize you get. You see, at the end of Ubel's battle, she recalled her conversation with Zenzei after she had killed Berg in the second-class mage exam. As she leaves Zenzei's office, Ubel remarks that she has pretty hair, and it must be tough to maintain. Zenzei responds that maintaining her hair is hell, and she doesn't even want to think about it. To which Ubel responds with her most logical and rational line in the entire anime: then you should cut it. The truth is, many of the difficult people we meet know that they are difficult. They know that they should cut off their bad tempers, bad behaviors, and bad habits. But for some reason or other, they find it hard to cut off their hairy problems, if you will. I wonder what if someone like you came by and showed them a little curiosity, a little empathy, and a little, well, humanity. You just might be the first person who didn't have a habit of breaking them, but helped them to break their habits. And all of a sudden, crazy doesn't seem quite so crazy after all. Hit subscribe and click that bell for more insights from the world of anime to help you improve your life and relationships.